What's up, guys? Tip of the week this week. I'm going to talk about the bowler drill. The bowler drill comes from the Stack and Tilt guys. So I give Mike Bendit, Annie Plummer, those guys from Stack and Tilt all the credit for this drill. It's an amazing drill. And it's kind of taken social media a little by storm over the last month or so, as more and more guys are talking about Scotty Scheffler's footwork. Rory McIlroy does this. A lot of guys out there have similar footwork. Not that these guys are necessarily employing stack and tilt methodology into their swing. But one of the things that I always say here in the studio when I talk to people about stack and tilt, stack and tilt is an amazing system, still is an amazing system to teach the game. They don't teach everyone the exact same thing. And a lot of people misrepresent or misunderstand what stack and tilt is because they've never actually learned from a certified stack and tilt instructor. They've learned it from somebody who's learned it from somebody who's learned it. Some of the videos that are out there that they produced back in the late 90s, early 2000s, still great information, but like any other great system that's continued to adapt and continued to be better. So, but the bowler drill, right, and why I like the bowler drill for many, many reasons, for many, many players, is something that can really help us swing the club from the inside, something that can really help us get early release from our wrists out of our system. There's a lot of ways to modify a bowler drill for a player to help them hit better golf shots, right? Which is the end result, the goal. So the bowler drill, I'll just sort of explain it. The bowler drill, when we bowl, we sort of finish sort of like this with the right foot sliding back and going this way, right? So, if you watch Scotty Scheffler, right, when he's swinging, the right foot goes sort of this way. If you watch Rory McIlroy, when he swings, this right foot does a small version of what Scotty does. I've got so many young players that come in and love Scotty, and the Scheffler shuffle, right, is what they call it. But the foot action is actually going this way as they come back or as they come through the golf ball. Their foot action does not go out like this. And a very common swing fault that I get messages about on a daily basis, literally, is how to eliminate someone's early extension, right? And early extension, now that I've had force plates and, can go into a lot of discussion on the force plates, but early extension by itself is sort of generated from how our, trail foot is working, how our trail leg is working in that downswing. And why I love the bowler drill so much for so many different reasons is it makes us use the trail leg differently, right? And so I'm going to give you sort of multiple different versions of this and sort of talk about why I like it so much, all right? So the first version, which is like a massively exaggerated version, we would set up normal. We would drop our right foot back, turn our foot literally towards the camera, away from us, sort of bank that foot in, and really load into our left leg. So now we have our mass over here on our left side. As we would take a swing, it's all arms. I don't want any body. And all of a sudden, what players will start to see and sense is this club really working from the inside, right? This version is great to learn this bowler drill. It's also great to get rid of that early release for a player. Because as I bend my left leg, right, and get all my mass here, I've actually lowered my mass into the earth, right, as well. And if I early release, I'm going to stick the club in the ground. So this really forces the player to hold some angle with the right wrist as they're coming through as well, okay? And then when we're swinging all arms, the face will naturally turn over. So what you will see a very high percentage of the time is a push draw for a player, right? When they do this drill. Like a player who's never hit a push draw in their life can start to hit push draws really quickly from this position. So, foot in, foot banked in, down on my left side, all arms here. You'll see this start right, come back left. All arms, push draw. Okay, it's going to happen a very, very high percentage of the time. Do one more. Little better contact there. It's going to start right, come back left. Every single time. Club path is 10 from the inside. The face is 5 closed. Push draw every single time. Now, it's not easy. Don't get me wrong. And, players will have struggles, especially players who early release at first. A great drill to give these players the sensation of needing to hold some of that angle in that trail wrist. So obviously then we can do sort of a modified version, right, where the player is setting up normal, they drop their right foot back and they turn it in a little. But once again, this is going to be more of an arm swing, and we're going to go ahead and feel that foot sort of slide back and turn in like that bowler position. Just give you an example here. Sort of a bowler position is going to start right. It's going to come back left. Okay. Face was only closed one, so it didn't come all the way back. Push draw though, right? So as you get players or as you start to do this, right now from this modified version, we can take some practice swings and feel that foot sliding back. Now, why is this part super important? In my opinion, right, one of the reasons so many golfers experience early extension is because there has been so much emphasis on getting your hips open. You've got to use your hips. It's all in the hips. And I find that comical as I say that out loud to you. You know, at the end of the day, if we could attach a golf club to our belt buckle, right, and not be able to hold it with our hands and just this thing would stay straight up, it would be awkward, obviously, initially. But if we could do that and only turn our hips and see how much club head speed we could create, it would be very, very, very small. Like it would be 5-6 miles an hour of speed. It would not be very fast. All of the speed, all of the power is always going to come from our arms and hands. Okay? And when people think about firing their hips fire towards the golf ball. Okay? Causing early extension, and they have to do all these other compensations to hit a golf shot. We all have seen Rory McIlroy, and we've all seen where his hips sort of start to open, they almost close, and then they open again, right? What I want you to think about here, or what I want you to see as I'm doing this bowler drill, when my foot is sliding back, that keeps my hips closed. As my hips are closed, my arms can swing through. That helps me swing from the inside and close the face. That starts to eliminate early extension immediately for many players. And as I've used the TrackMan AI in here and watched how the pelvis bubble and the chest bubble are working, it's crazy how fast early extension now can be eliminated from players understanding this. And as I've started to use Sportsbox AI even more, which is an app that turns you into a 3D avatar and I can measure every joint in your body, I see way too many players that are too open with their hips at impact. And I'm talking a lot too open. The average tour player is only open like 39 to 43 degrees with their hips at impact. And I'm seeing players open almost 60 degrees. And it's because they're trying to fire their hips. And now what happens is their arms and hands are way too far behind their body. And now their arm swing and their body swing are out of sync. Okay? And to me, it is all because of this rage of you got to get your hips open. You got to fire your hips. You got to fire your hips. It's just not real. Okay? It makes for good videos out in the internet world. It makes for great videos. Don't get me wrong. But the reality is, the only time that we should be getting open with the lower body is if the sweet spot of the club and our arms are in sync with that, right? And way too many players are way out of sync. So the bowler drill really starts to play a big part for a lot of players seeing swinging more from the inside, eliminated early extension, and honestly, what I have found is less back pain for players, which is a massive, massive problem out there, right? So, sort of, again, another version of this modified version. I'm going to swing. I'm going to slide this back on purpose. When that right foot is sliding back, the hips stay closed for a fraction longer. And like, here's the thing. I've had this in here. I've asked players to do this in here. Take a swing and don't use any body. Swing as hard as you can, but don't use any lower body. Every player is going to turn their lower body. Every player. It's almost impossible not to use our body. So, with all of that being said, I think way too many people are trying to use their body way, way too much. And this stuff right here is out of whack, so they're not going to hit good golf shots. So, I encourage you to try the bowler drill and then give me some feedback on sort of what you see out there. Once again, we can modify the bowler drill for all of us. Maybe our foot doesn't need to be back very much. Maybe it doesn't need to be turned out very much. But what I want to see instead of this is that the foot stays down longer and there's a small move this way before we finish up on our toe. We're not just driving from our heel to our toe as we're swinging down, which then pushes everything out. So let me know what you think. Any other suggestions on anything you want to see, don't hesitate to leave a comment, email me back. I'll talk to you soon.